important. So cosmetic procedure is not an emergency, it's nothing life-threatening, so it's actually quite expensive. So it's kind of a luxury. You want to change a part of you, maybe you want to be the showstopper whenever you step into a room, but that comes at a cost, right? So it's quite expensive, and so people, because they want to get it at all costs, end up patronizing quack. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the things you need to consider before going in for that cosmetic procedure. But before we continue, if it's your first time stopping by my channel, you're definitely welcome. My name is Dr. Ogo, and in this channel we discuss everything ranging from health, beauty and lifestyle. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for supporting what I do. I really do not take this gesture for granted. Thank you so much. So let's go straight into our topic for today. But before we continue on this video, just a little disclaimer: I'm neither for or against cosmetic procedure. If you ever decide to go for every cosmetic procedure, that is definitely your choice. My assignment in this video is simply to inform you so that you make an informed decision if you're ever considering going for any cosmetic procedure. So having said all this, let me dive straight into the things you need to consider when going for any cosmetic procedure. So the first thing you need to consider when you're going for any cosmetic procedure is first to determine what type of cosmetic procedure you want to go in for. Now, determining this is actually pivotal in determining or discussing other things you're going to be talking about in this video, because knowing the kind of cosmetic procedure you're going for is going to influence a lot of other things, such as the type of surgery you're going for, where you're going for the surgery, the recovery time, the cost. So determining the surgery you're actually going for, or rather a cosmetic procedure as the case may be, is the single most important thing you need to consider first whenever you're actually considering going for any cosmetics procedure. Now, having determined the kind of cosmetic procedure you want to go for, the second thing you need to decide is to actually research about that procedure. I know we're in Nigeria where everybody's used to going into the doctor's room and then swallowing everything left, right and center. That should not be the case when it comes to cosmetic procedure, because I mean, cosmetic procedure is something that sometimes is something permanent, something you have to live your rest of your life with. So it only makes sense that actually tries to research and at least know what would be done to you, because this is going to alter how people look at you. It's going to alter how you look at yourself. So it only makes sense that you try to research about this. And why this is actually very important is because it's going to incite a lot of questions that you would ask your doctor during your consultation. Now, ideally, under the ethics of medicine, a doctor is supposed to explain to you before any procedure, this procedure, what it entails, explain to you the benefit of the procedure, the side effects, the alternatives of the procedure. But then researching about the procedure will help you to ask pertinent questions that relate specifically to you, because a doctor might not even know the things, specific things that relate to you, even though in general they can talk about the general things, the major things that are maybe major side effect that you need to know, but then minor things or maybe things that just concern you want to find out about, they may not be in your heart to know, but then reading about this procedure will help you to actually talk about this thing and excite meaningful conversations whenever you go in for your consultation. So it's actually very vital that you research about this procedure, so you actually know what this procedure is about and have a feel of it, and actually tend to now relate with your doctor whenever you go in for your consultation. Then the third thing you actually need to do is actually to research your surgeon. Now, if you've decided, for example, that you want to go in for a rhinoplasty, for example, that is to fix your nose, what you have to start doing is to start searching in for doctors who do that. Now, even within different specialties in medicine, they actually have subspecialties. So you start looking for the doctors that are actually specialize in fixing that part or whatever cosmetic procedure you're looking for. So you try to search them out. You can do this via Google, you can check them out on Instagram and just search. You can just type in maybe a rhinoplasty doctor, or as the case may be, you can see different options pop up. So with those options, you can start considering, okay, should I go for this person or that? We're going to be discussing some of the things that actually influence the person you eventually choose as your surgeon or cosmetic or a dermatologist, as the case may be. So having said all this, the fourth thing you actually need to consider whenever you're going for any cosmetic procedure is to check if this person is certified. Now this is where a lot of people run into trouble. You end up going under the knife with someone that is not skilled, so maybe someone that just have a little surgical skill, and then the person end up operating on you without even being certified. Now all over the world, whenever doctors leave medical school, they go into what is known as residency program. Now in that residency program, those doctors go through rigorous training, and if for example the person is a cosmetic surgeon or a dermatologist, they do certain procedures under supervision. They do it multiple times, and at the end of that training they are certified, and that simply means that they have authority in those areas, and means that they can actually confidently perform any procedure as the case may be. And even the complications, when they run into this complication, they know what to do because they've done this over and over and over again. Before you're certified, you have certain procedure you need to do and how many times you should have done it. So when you meet someone that is certified, what that person is simply telling you is that I'm an authority in this field, I know how to do this, and even when I run into complications, I know what to do. That is what being certified means. And to actually check if a doctor is certified, in different areas of the world, they have different bodies that actually govern certification of doctors. So for example, in Nigeria, we have Nigerian Association of Plastic and Reconstructive surgeons that govern for plastic surgeons. We have for dermatologists. Even in US, we have different boards. So somewhere in this screen, I'm going to be listing them, and you just go ahead and search them out. So when you search them out on this side, you have a column where you can type in the name of your doctor, and once you do that, what simply now happens is that the site will search it out and tell you if this doctor is certified or not. So when you searched out a doctor and the person is not certified, or you're not seeing the person, is actually a red flag that this person may not be board certified, and it wouldn't make logical sense actually go ahead choosing that person as your doctor. So having done all this, the next thing you need to do is actually to check the before and the after picture of whichever dermatologist or surgeon that you actually want to go for this procedure under. Looking at their before and after picture is actually very important, and why this is very important is that it gives you a feel of what your own result is going to look like. And at this point, I need to mention that popularity does not equate to efficiency. So for example, a doctor is very popular that he can perform breast surgery, and then you decide to go to him because you feel that because it's popular, it's going to give you the result. Perhaps other people like the result, but you may not like the result. Other people have different things that appeal to them aesthetically, so that might not appeal to you. So it's actually very important that you look at the before and the after pictures and actually make a choice based on that. If from the before and after picture what you're looking at does not appeal to you, there's actually no need continuing with it at that point. The other thing you also need to consider is the country you're going in for the procedure. Now, plastic surgery and dermatologists actually are performed, or dermatological procedures are performed all over the world. Now, plastic surgery, for example, originated in India. Even some procedures originated in Brazil, but right now US is like the oil boom, and that is where most of these cosmetic procedures are performed. But that does not mean that in other parts of the world they're actually not performing the surgery. What is actually important is who is performing the surgery. Is a person certified? Now, in determining the country you're going for this surgery, why it is actually important to know the country you're choosing is because of language barrier. Now, we know that during translation, some information are lost. So, for example, if you decide to go for your surgery in a country that you do not understand their language, and if the doctor does not understand English, or let's say, for example, the aftercare note, because this is where it is more important, a surgeon might actually understand English and he performs the surgery or whatever cosmetic procedure. The aftercare notes will help you in the recovery period, and regardless of any procedure you've done, the most vital point is actually the aftercare, where you have to take time to recover. So if the aftercare notes have a language barrier, they don't understand you, you don't understand them, some information may be difficult to pass, and it may make your recovery period quite difficult. So in order to actually avoid this, better to choose a country where there's no language barrier, so they can actually communicate directly how you feel, so that they know how better to care for you, especially in your aftercare after any of the procedures you've done. The next thing you also need to consider is actually to research about the cost of this procedure. So this is where so many people run into problems. So cosmetic procedure is not an emergency, it's nothing life-threatening, so it's actually quite expensive. So it's kind of a luxury. You want to change a part of you. Maybe you want to be the showstopper whenever you step into a room, but that comes at a cost, right? So it's quite expensive. And so people, because they want to get it at all costs, end up patronizing quack. In order to avoid this, when you research for your procedure, you can go ahead and book initial consultation with them. You can do it in 1 or 2 places, or just ask them about the cost of the procedure. By the time you sampled 1 or 2 places, you have an idea on what the procedure costs. You can actually save up towards that procedure. And why this is very important is, if you do not do this at the initial stage, it will cost you more later on, because one, you end up patronizing quack. They will do a wrong job, and you actually have to spend more to fix it. And even in some deleterious cases, it might lead to death, which is something that is preventable by just going to the right person at the first instance. So try to find out about the cost and save towards it, instead of running into complications at the end of the day. Other things you also need to consider is the recovery time. Now, different cosmetic procedures have different recovery time. There are some procedures that you might go for today, and then in the next day you can easily start doing your normal activities. But there are ones that when you go for, you have to spend so much time. For example, if you do Brazilian bodily, for example, you may have to be using BBL pillows. It might take you 4 to 6 weeks before you can start sitting down. So if you work in an office, for example, and you didn't consider the recovery time, maybe it was during your work hours, you're not on break, you're not on vacation, and you decide to take this at that point, it might affect your result, because you will start sitting, you're not allowing the graft fat to actually take time to heal. So that might affect the cosmetic outlook of the procedure at the end of the day. So having an idea on the recovery time can help you to know when to plan your procedure. You can decide to plan it during your holiday, your vacation, or whenever you're taking leave from work. This will help you to know when to fix those cosmetic procedure. Other things you also need to consider is to actually count the cost. And counting the cost is not just financial, even though it's also part of it, but I've mentioned that earlier. You also need to count the emotional cost is going to cost you, the hours that you have to leave from work, and other things. Remember that this is going to alter your look. Are you ready for the emotional baggage that is going to come with? Are you ready to see how people are going to perceive you, how you're going to perceive yourself? These are things you need to consider before you decide to go for any cosmetic procedure. And lastly, just be realistic. I mean, these doctors are not good. They're just simply trying to reconstruct that to actually look something more aesthetically beautiful. In some cases, they can give you results that are far beyond what you even expect, but in some cases it might actually not be. So just be realistic. Know that it may turn out well, but it may still not turn out well. Know the complications to expect. When you're going in for this procedure, you're giving a consent form, and that consent form, what you're actually saying in those consent form is that you've known about this procedure, you know the benefit of the procedure, you know the alternatives, and you know the complication. And having known all this, you're still consenting to go in for this surgery, knowing that complication can actually occur even in the best of hands. So that is what you're actually doing when you're signing those consent forms. So just be realistic. Know that yes, they can give you an amazing result, but also understand that things might go wrong even in the best of hands. So thank you guys so much. I know this is nowhere exhaustive, so if there's anything you feel I didn't talk about, feel free to let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. Until I come your way next time, see you. Bye.